Hello Lagos, UpYou Lagos. Greetings, wonderful UpYou community, and welcome to another edition of your favorite female-centric program, UpYou with Ezinne. The year is progressing. It is running indeed. I sincerely hope that we're all making progress in all our different spheres of endeavor. So, how are you all doing? How are you all doing? Well, me, I am here. Very, very grateful to be here. Thankful that today, despite all the everything, I made it into the studio today. We're just going to go run through what we have today, which is what women serve up. You know, that's been the theme on, and we're wrapping on it today before we go on to another one because we missed out of last week. So it's been a month to, encourage you, channel you to bring your A game to the table of life to serve. We've explored this topic from several angles, and today we'll bring it to a wrap by looking at it from yet another angle. Woman, you may be bruised, but you're certainly not broken. There's still something lurking inside of you, so serve it up. It's on radio, and I'm here to keep you company wherever you may be. So let's do this, my beautiful people. Finding self, finding purpose. My name is Ezinne, and I'm your host. Welcome back. The topic today is woman serve up, bruised but not broken. Oftentimes, a woman is likened to a reed, usually found by the riverbanks. You may pull at it and bruise it, or sometimes even break it and toss it aside. But shockingly, it survives and begins to thrive again. Our guest today is such a reed. She stood in the storm, and when the wind did not blow her away, she grew roots and became strong. You know the way the saying goes, strong women don't wait for miracles, they create them. This is her second time on this show, and today we will dig deeper to find out how she's applying all her experiences in the service to humanity, because it is in her serving and in our own serving that we truly heal. Stay with us. More than ever, this is a season to be more and do more. We are living at a time where everything is stretched, and we are surprising ourselves that we are carrying on campaign. So woman, the spotlight is on you. Will you rise to the occasion and serve up? Don't touch that dial. It's time to bring up our guest for today, and our guest is none other but Anthonia Ojenagbon. Yeah, an SVBV advocate, social entrepreneur, founder and chief convener, Anthonia, Bruised but not broken. A support and counseling group for sexual violence survivors. She has a record of standing up and giving a voice to victims of sexual violence, being a survivor herself. She leads advocacy against gender-based violence and is currently one of the leading voices for survivors in Nigeria. Anthonia is a rape recovery specialist as well as a purpose and potential discovery specialist. She's a Goldman Sachs scholar and a pioneer alumnus of Tony Elumelu Foundation and Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, a White House-led women initiative. Anthonia is a 2019 Oni of Ife Awardee for advocacy against gender-based violence and the receiver of the 2020 Nigerian Women's Achievers Award for Women Advocacy. When I say warrior, when I say survivor, when I say bruised but not broken, you better hurry up and bring out your writing materials. Fasten your seatbelts because this is a no-holds-barred conversation, I promise you. Dear listeners, join me in welcoming a very special warrior survivor on the show today, Anthonia, bruised but not broken. Good morning, Anthonia. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, ma.
No, Anthonia, I need Lagos and Nigeria and the world to hear your voice. Come on, your mic. How are you, Anthonia?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Auntie.
So how have you been?
Fine.
How are you coping with this fuel subsidy thingy?
Am I coping? Just like every other Nigerian. We're just like taking it one day at a time.
When they told us in the Bible that it's supposed to be leave it one day at a time, we said
didn't
no.
Understand.
So we're finally there where we're all doing one day at a time.
Yeah.
So Toby, does that reflect with you one day at a time as well?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so how would you tell young people like you to cope with what's going on?
First, we had established that we'll take it one day at a time. However, we must understand that as we go on in life and as we progress, things would only get better. So when we have that mindset to say that, yes, this is what the situation is, tomorrow it won't always be so. Our income will be expanded. We'll have more room to accommodate these things better. So guys, keep pushing on. It go better.
So on that positive note of it go better, let's start the conversation.
Okay.
Thank you, Toby. So, Tonia, can you please give us your understanding and your perspective of what we are here to do today?
Okay, woman, serve up. When I got the message for a survivor who's been bruised, who something precious was stolen probably during childhood or during adulthood, who was forcefully deprived of what she didn't want to give out forcefully by probably a gang of the opposite sex or an opposite sex, a single person. For that woman, I'm saying that you had a purpose. You had a reason for living before that sexual violence happened. Do not allow it to stop you. You survived the abuse. You will definitely survive the recovery.
Okay, great. So Tonia has spoken directly to her tribe and she says there was a life before the infraction, before the abuse, before the violation, before the rape. And so because you survived the rape, you also need to survive to thrive. Thank you, Tonia. Can you please set the stage better for us by sharing a bit about yourself and how today's topic applies to you?
Okay, my name is Anthonia Ojenagbon, like everybody knows. I'm the first child of 9 children. I came to Lagos to live with an uncle in 1992. And on the 23rd of September, 1992, my life turned around because I was sleeping that night as a young girl, a 12-year-old child. I felt a hand touching my breast and the hand moved from my breast to my vagina. Now, I was brought up by very religious parents. So sex was never mentioned in our house. I didn't know what it was. That night when that hand started fiddling with my nipple, I didn't know what to do. I was confused. I used to think it was a monster. And the hand moved from my breast. It moved to my private part and my world changed that night because someone took advantage of me. Someone defiled me. I don't know who the person was as at that time because everywhere was dark. It continued every night. This monster would come and defile me. Now, defilement is when you have, can I use the word on radio?
What word is that? When you have sex?
Yes. Okay. When you have sex with a minor, it is not rape. It is defilement. If you have an unlawful sex. Now, a child below the age of 18 cannot give consent for sex. So if you have sex with a child below the age of 18, you've defiled that child. So the defilement continued. I didn't know who was doing this to me. I couldn't talk to anybody. We have so much information now. In 1992, no adults told children if anybody makes you uncomfortable, especially an adult that you used to feel comfortable with, if the person makes you uncomfortable, touches you in your private, you should raise an alarm. You keep screaming until an adult listens to you. There must be a trusted adult you can talk to. We didn't know of such. There were no such information out like we have now. Now our children know that they can cry for help. So I didn't know any of that. My uncle is a policeman. So he will show me a gun in the morning and he will say to me, if you tell anybody what is going on in this house, I will kill you. So I didn't tell anyone.
No, hold on a second. Are you saying it was your uncle that was defiling you at night?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Please go ahead with your story.
Yes. So one day, then there were no GSM phones. We didn't have internet like we have now. So I used to write letters. So every time I tried to write a letter, he would tell me, don't write what is going on in this house because he'll be the one to take it to the post office. And one day he said to me, he said that I've known your father before I know you, so you cannot come between us. That instead of you to tell him what's going on, that I will kill you. And along the line, my father died. So when my father died, it shattered my life, my world, because now I knew that there was nobody to help me and any one of that. Now, I know a lot of people will be thinking, what about your mother? So my mother is a child bride who doesn't know any better. She got married and had me at the age of 15. I used to hold her in a lot of bitterness because I felt she didn't protect me. But I realized now that what does a 15-year-old know? She was already a mother at the age of 15. So what did she know that she could have possibly told me? So my uncle kept on abusing and defiling me, knowing, of course, there was no way I could talk. Till now, perpetrators still use that same trick till today. They tell the child or the victim, if you say a word to anyone, I will kill you. And you know, once you instill that fear in a child, you tell the child, I will kill you, I'll kill your family members. No child wants to lose their loved ones. So because of that, they don't say anything. So I didn't say anything until a few years later, someone invited me to a church, and it was when I got to that church, the pastor, I hadn't met him in my entire life. It was my first time in that church. And the pastor just said to me that, you want to tell me, well, after the service, he said he wanted to meet up with the newcomers. So we waited. So he spoke to us one after the other. And when he got to my turn, he told everybody to step out, that he wanted to talk to me privately. So when they stepped out, he just looked at me and he said, you want to tell me something? I said, no, sir. And he just told me, he said, you want to tell me your uncle is sexually molesting you and you don't know what to do? I'd never seen this man in my life. That was my first time of seeing him. So immediately he said that, I just went on my knees and I began to cry. I started crying because for the first time, somebody is going to listen to me. Somebody is going to help me. And he just asked me 2 questions. Do you want this to stop? And I said, yes. He said, it's going to happen again this night. He said, have you ever shouted before? And I said, no. So he said, okay, tonight, you know your father died. Your father just died. I said, yes. He said, when your uncle comes this night, as he raises up your dress, just start shouting until his wife wakes up. And when his wife wakes up...
You mean there was a wife in the house?
There was a wife in the house. So he said, keep shouting until his wife wakes up. And when she wakes up, pretend like you're having a nightmare. So when she asks you, just say you're having a nightmare. And she knows that your father just died. So she will probably think you're dreaming about your dad. So that was exactly what happened. So as my uncle came, he raised my dress up. I started shouting. The wife woke up and she, Anthonia, what thing happened? And I said, Auntie, in a bad dream. You know, so by the time I woke up the following morning, my uncle looked at me from my head to my toe. He hissed and walked away. That was the end of the physical abuse. But you see, by that time, the mental and the emotional damage had been done. And that mental damage has taken me close to 30 years to heal.
Thank you, Tonia. I am speechless. Well, let me open the phone lines. I'll come back to you. So the number to call is 0913 6000 410. The number to text is 0913 6000 430. Tonia, well done.
Thank you, Ma.
You're such an inspiration.
Thank
you. It's amazing. Because I can see that your eyes are even moisturing up, and it's been a lot of years, 30 years thereafter. This abuse went on for how long?
From 1992 to 1998.
Jesus Christ. So that is 98 to 92.
6 years.
6 years, every night of 6 years. Now, from this whole thing, you have risen up. You have... tried to heal yourself. You've tried to overcome, and you've given yourself a very unique name. Bruised, but not broken.
Yeah.
I celebrate you.
Thank you.
When you were picking that name, did you realize it was an affirmation?
Yes.
How did you pick it, and what led to your deciding that that was going to be it?
Okay. In 2015, I had along the line, you know, suffering from the psychological effects of sexual abuse is one of the biggest parts of it. the physical abuse stopping is 0% of what goes on in the life of the survivor. So I'd gone through so much, severe depression, suicide ideation, trying to pull through with suicide twice. And in 2015, I was clinically diagnosed with severe depression because I became schizophrenic. I was hearing voices. I will hear that voice, the voice would tell me, oh, kill yourself, end it all, audible voice, I'll turn back. One of such days, I was dressing up to go to my shop and I just heard, Anthonia, finish it up. It's not worth it. I got married to a very nice guy.
I was going to get to that.
That's the way I can just describe this guy. I got married to a very nice guy, and every time I relapse, I feel for him because I'm like, this guy is a good guy. He shouldn't be going through this stuff. He deserves someone better. And in the early years of having children, I wasn't emotionally present for my children because I needed help myself. I didn't know what to do. Then I'd not known about therapy and counseling, so my husband practically brought up the children, everything a mother is supposed to do for her children at the early stage of their life. My husband did it. Go for PTA meetings.
So that right there is one of the dysfunctions of abuse.
Yeah.
That's one of these, because you are a bit detached.
Yes, you are.
Emotionally.
Yes.
From things.
Your inner child is crying for help, exactly. But you are now an adult. You don't even know what to do, and you have children. You don't know what to do to them. As little as going for PTA meeting, I never did. So during preschool, I can tell you categorically that my children's teacher never knew me through preschool. I remember meeting my son's preschool teacher in church, and she saw me with the boy, and my son greeted her, and the girl told me to my face that, oh, I know his father. You're not the mom. So, and we're in the same department in church. And I said, oh, Sister Faith, I'm his mom. She said, no, I know the father, but I don't know you, because I was never going, even picking up the children. He has to do all of that. Take them to children's church. Take them to church. Sometimes I will not even be able to go.
What do we say to this nice gentleman? That good men still
exist.
Yes, good men still
exist. There.
They still exist.
So sisters, don't give up. There are good men out there. Yes, go ahead.
So on one of such days, like I was saying, I stood in front of my mirror to dress up and go to my office, and I just heard the voice that said, finish it up. So one of the reasons why I wanted to end it was I thought that I didn't deserve the person that I got married to, that he deserves a good girl. He deserves somebody that will make his life less stressful, So I take medication every day of my life. I told you this morning that before I got here, I'd gone to the hospital, yes, to pick up my medication. So every morning, as God gives me life, as I open my eye like this in the past 18 years, I take medication. As I open my eye, there's water by the side of my bed like this up till today. So as I took the last one this morning, I said, do I have to quickly go to the hospital? So that day, it just occurred to me that, oh, you don't deserve this guy. You don't even deserve to be a mother. Just end it. My siblings see me as the strong Auntie Anthonia, but deep down, my inner child is crying for help. Who would help me? So I started following Dr. Kadiri online. She's a psychiatrist and a psychologist. So one day she talked about seeking help for severe depression and suicide. That was my first time of knowing that, so these things are not spiritual problems after all, because as a Christian.
That's true, because they'll tell you you're possessed.
Yes.
And then the worst part is they'll say, are you the first person that this thing has happened to?
Yes. And we'll believe that once you pray and you read the Bible, everything is fine. But I wasn't fine. I was doing all of that. I was a worker in church. I wasn't fine. So I took her contacts. So that day in 2015, as that voice started talking to me again, I packed my phone. I called her. I said, please send me your office address that I need to see you now. She sent it. I wrote down the address. I deleted that last call from my phone because I knew my husband would be looking for the last person I spoke to. So I took my both phones. I gave them to my sister-in-law who was staying with me. I bought chicken And I told her, if anybody asks for anything, attend to the customers, that where I'm going to, I will not be able to talk to anybody. So I literally checked myself into a mental health clinic. That was in 2015. And in 2015, we were not talking so much about mental health. So coming out to say I checked myself into a mental health clinic was a bit weird in 2015. So I got there, I checked myself in, and they were trying to contact my next of kin, which is my husband. And I refused to give them the contact of anybody. You would ask me why. Why? I didn't release that because I was ashamed. I didn't want anybody to find out that I was in a mental health clinic. I didn't want anybody to bully my husband that, oh, you married a girl with mental health issues. And I didn't want people to bully my children saying, oh, your mom has mental health issues.
So it is bad enough that you were violated as a child.
Yes.
It's bad enough that the society has a culture of
shaming the victim,
yes, shaming the victim,
blaming the victim, stigmatizing the victim.
It is bad enough that the church doesn't have anything other than the word, and I'm telling you to snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of all of this, they will now label you Kolo.
Yes, a mad person. I was actually labeled. Well, I'll get to that. So I didn't give him their contacts. So after like 2 weeks in the clinic, Dr. Memuna said she does not want to be sued. She doesn't want her clinic to be sued. That if my husband finally finds me, that they might sue them. So I said to her that the least on his mind right now would be to sue you. He would just be praying to find me alive. So she sent him a message on Facebook. And I said to her that he's not a Facebook person. He's not going to check it. You know that thing happened in 2015. My husband saw that message in 2018.
Oh.
Yes. So after like 2 weeks, they got one of the matrons is a Christian. So they brought her to talk to me. So I was able to give her my husband's best friend's number.
So you have always been a brave woman somehow, because it is not normal for a married woman with children to just wake up and say, you know what, I'm checking myself into a mental health facility. Or you did that and you emerged better and stronger.
Yeah.
So now let's fast forward, because radio time is not our friend.
Yeah.
We're probably going to do this again another week. Let's fast forward, because now I see you. You have translated all of this into becoming a champion advocate for others who do not have the kind of strength that God blessed you with. Every time I check your page or I get to talk to you, you're either in court, coming out of court, you're in this hospital, you're taking up the survivor or the other one. How do you, I actually feel for you, because I kind of imagine that every new case will trigger you, one. And then two, I ask myself, who protects this girl who is out there trying to protect every other person? And I think the last time I read that you were attacked in court.
Yes, we were.
So why do you do all of this? Isn't it, you're married, you've got children, hopefully you've healed of your trauma. Why are you not just inside your house and managing yourself? Why do you do all this?
Okay. I think I did a post a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I said something. I said, when I was abused by my uncle, I had nobody to stand for me. Probably if I had somebody, an adult, stand for me, I would have healed on time. I think my healing journey took that long because nobody stood up for me. I had nobody to stand for me. After I came back from the mental health home, I healed, I got therapy, and that was when my healing journey started. I realized that you have 1,000,001 Nigerians like me who have gone through this kind of childhood trauma and they've not healed. That's what led me into what I'm doing now. And I must be honest with you, I didn't prepare for what I'm saying now. I didn't prepare for it at all. It's overwhelming. I don't know. I think because of the kind of awareness we have, more people are reporting. We have more reportage. For a state like Lagos State that doesn't tolerate any form of gender-based violence, we say kudos, because there's an agency responsible for That's gender-based violence in Lagos. It's called the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Agency in Lagos State. But there's no day I don't get a call. There is no day. You were saying, who protects this girl? Why am I not just going my way? I know what it means to be abused and not heal. It affects every facet of your life. Every part of your life is affected if you don't heal. And one of the worst things we do in this country is the perpetrator is working freely. We blame, we shame, we stigmatize, especially if you are a girl child. Your family doesn't want anybody to know that you have been raped. Your mother doesn't want that to happen because she's thinking, who is going to marry this girl? You know, people are going to bully the man who has the boldness to come and marry you. You know, people are going to bully your children. My children have been bullied. Someone has said to, we're in the same department in church, has said to her child, you cannot be friends with this person's child because she was raped when she was a child by her uncle.
Did you say the person was in the same department? Is in the same department with you in a church?
Yes. I'm saying it. Yes.
So
and my daughter comes home.
People of the same faith,
yes,
are bullying people by things that happen to them that is of no recourse to them. I mean, outside of their will. We have a long way to go.
Yes. The sad reality is it is people of your faith, your family, your friends, that the ones who are going to bully you the most, who are going to tell you, why are you spreading your dirty linen outside? Why are you telling this story? The men will call your spouse to say, why are you allowing your wife to do this?
And that is why high profile people are now defiling and raping people.
Oh my God, you don't want to talk about that high profile thing. We're not going to leave here today. We're not going to leave here today.
We will not talk about it.
Yes, my DM is a mess.
But it's a mess, really. It is a mess. Because these women, these young ladies, these children are coming up. The stories are coming out every day. And these stories, some of them date back at first, I also used to wonder, okay, this thing happened like 30 years ago. Why are you talking about it now? But the fact is that they do not have closure.
Yes.
I had another guest on this show, and she was like, it took her 30 years to be able to tell her mom because her defiler was a next door neighbor. You know, and now this is your uncle, and some people is their pastors, some their teachers,
some their parents, their fathers.
So you see, it's not a stranger really that comes to do this stuff. It's
Let
people
me blow
that
your
we
mind.
know. Oh, she wants to blow my mind. Okay.
Let me blow your mind.
All of us get ready with our minds.
Yes, some father and mother.
As in, a man and his wife will agree.
Yes, they are abusing their daughter.
It's okay. I don't know. Somebody said the other day that Sodom and Gomorrah was.
They didn't do half of what we are doing.
Exactly.
They didn't do half of this.
Well, it's good you mentioned Lagos State because I recently was a guest at the newly launched sector-led gender-based violence fund. And the scorecard, as read out by the Lagos representative, was quite impressive. What's your experience working with them? Are they helping out with your legal fees, funding, all of that? Are they doing any of those for you?
Okay.
Are you in some kind of collaboration?
Yes. So we're one of the first responders of GBV recognized by the Lagos State government.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
So we have a steady working relationship with the DSVA and the Ministry of Justice. So most of the time you see me in court, those cases are handled by the Ministry of Justice, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Lagos State Ministry of Justice.
Okay, this is really heartening to know because we at the launch, I personally was crying. I was just crying because, I mean, in that room, we were over 75 to 80 women present. And when they said, raise your hand if you have had some kind of violation, if you were raped, if you were violated as a child, I started crying. Nearly every hand went up. And these are fantastic women, you know, women looking together. And then sometimes you don't understand that the reason why women are acting up is because they have unhealed trauma.
Yes.
They have issues. Yeah. The child in them is crying.
Yeah.
And then you expect that child who hasn't healed to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Mm-hmm.
You expect that person to be friendly. How? They have things that are dealing with.
Yeah.
But then again, you see, somebody said to me, that the reason why it's difficult to align or relate with people working in your space is because there is so much anger coming out from all of you, quote and unquote, in the sense that, you personalize the matter. And I said, they too may not have healed.
I think generalizing is wrong. It's not everybody working in the, first of all, the notion that everybody working in this space has gone through it is not true. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've spoken to some people in this space who never went through any form of sexual violence.
Thank you for putting that out there.
Yes.
They are just passionate.
They are just passionate. Some of them run sexual assault referral centers here in Lagos State. It's not everybody in this space. Then I think I need to make a clarification. Mm-hmm. It's not everybody who is bitter online who is an advocate. I'm not a bitter person. I'm married. I don't
everybody, I hope you have that.
Yes.
It's not every bitter person that is an advocate.
No, it's not everybody who calls themselves an advocate who is an advocate. We had a case recently. The case is still in court, so I can't talk about it. But someone who calls herself an advocate was the one jeopardizing the case. She came online. She called.
Okay, we're not going to have this conversation.
Yes, so
because I think I know that case.
It's not everybody who says that I'm an advocate. Every bitter person you see, I see words like bitter feminism, and I try to make the correction. I said, you see these people who are bitter on social media. I go to the Nigerian Feminist Forum and the Manifesto Feminist Forum, and I check, and their names are not there. You have the names of responsible women like Dr. Obieze Kwesili. Are you going to tell me that woman is a bitter woman?
Okay.
Mrs. Torana, the owner of Mirabel Center. Are you going to tell me she's a bitter person?
Okay.
Warif is owned by yes, Chechayara, Mrs. Bola Tinubu Chechayara Foundation. She's not a bitter person. She's just passionate for children.
Okay,
that's why she started this.
Thank you. You see, that passion is coming true now. Sorry. And before you know it, they'll say we are... Sorry. Okay, so let me ask you something very critical that I've always wanted to ask before I let Toby ask you anything of her choice.
Okay.
What you do, you pull them through the process, of getting justice for the victim. And they end up, if they convict them, they go to jail or something. They eventually come out. Is that enough justice for what they did?
Justice is not just going to the prison. Mm-hmm. Sometimes justice for the victim is finding their voice, living purposefully again, which is why we're here.
Do they apologize? That's where me.
Some of them do apologize. Some of them do. Sometimes getting justice for the survivor is for her to be able to go to school, for her to be able to fulfill her dreams. One of my survivors just graduated. She's a lawyer. She's going to be a lawyer. And one of the reasons why she went into this is because she was abused by her general overseer, and she went to school. I'm so proud of my daughter. I call them my girls, so justice for her is to be able to go to the university despite what has happened that tried to break her. When you are not mentally and emotionally stable, you can't even concentrate on your education. So getting them that therapy. So for us, sending them to prison is the least of our issues.
I just wanted that to be out there so that nobody thinks that it's just because they want to be jailing men.
No.
Toby, what's your question for our guest?
My question is, how does the family respond to situations like this? So, for example, your uncle's family, when they found out that, I ask because, survivors need to be informed about what to expect in situations like this.
Okay, some families are supportive. I've met survivors' families who are very supportive. My own family wasn't supportive. First of all, because my father died very early. My mom became a widow at 37. And my uncle stood by her. So she was not dealt with by our village people. So it was difficult for my mother to believe me. My mother believed me 18 years after, when I started speaking out. As I'm speaking like this, on one of such days, my mother listened. Yes. So she says, this thing you have been saying all these years, are you saying it's true?
Yes,
my mother.
We even don't believe our children.
Yes. So most parents don't believe, which is one of the reasons why perpetrators have the upper hand. Because a lot of parents don't believe. Because perpetrators are the people we love most. Unfortunately, the people we trust. You know, the people that we can vouch and say, oh, this person cannot do it. You know, there's a story online now, and everybody is just saying, a lot of people are saying, he didn't do it. You'll be shocked. It is women who are even standing more for perpetrators. You know, saying that this person cannot do it.
So from what you're saying, because we need to be wrapping up, what you're saying is, you know, we now put our judgment on perpetrators based on our perception of them.
Who they are, yes.
We actually just think that people who rape people should look a certain way.
Exactly.
And so when they don't look a certain way, we say, no, it's not that person. And
yes.
then when we in the court of public opinion have already passed it cannot be you, it becomes difficult for the person that has been abused to even carry on with the story.
That's especially why we were attacked in court.
Oh, that was what happened. Okay. All right, Tonya, we have actually run out of time. So please, can you just wrap up this conversation very quickly in another 1 minute?
Okay. Dear survivor, I want you to know that the abuse was never your fault. The shame belongs to the perpetrator. It doesn't belong to you. Like I said in the beginning, you survived the abuse. You will survive the recovery. I love you. I'm rooting for you. I believe your story, even if nobody believes you. I believe you. I love you. Thank you.
Whoa. You know, it's, I love the way, Tonya just keeps talking to her tribe, and the love she has for this tribe is just coming on. Tonya, thank you so very much for coming on the show today. 1 hour is definitely not enough for us to complete our conversation. We will have to do this some other time because there's so many things we haven't talked about. You yourself run a kind of recovery program for your people. And then we need to talk about that so people will know, you know, that they have to get there. So really, truly, what we're talking about here is that it is no longer comfortable to keep quiet. The silence culture needs to be cancelled. If something happens to you that you do not like, please speak up. Please speak up and get people like Tonya and other people in her space to know about it. The earlier, the better, you know, so nobody should take advantage of anyone. This is all we can take for today on this show, and we're going to be probably we'll talk about it some other time. So it's been an emotional one for me, and I'm not even a victim. I'm not even a survivor, and I feel this way. You can imagine that my vibrancy has gone, so you can imagine what it's done to Tonya this morning. So it's also good that we're taking it in batches and not giving everything at once. So dear woman, like she said, you have nothing to be ashamed of. It is a person who came and stole from you, who robbed you, who violated you, that had something to be ashamed for. Tonya's life is an example that you can go ahead and get married to a beautiful man, a handsome man, a nice man in the heart, and have lovely children like she does. It's also a beautiful example that you can trust God, love God, and make something good from your life. So thank you, everybody. Toby, you have something to say very quickly? We don't have time.
Thank you all for joining in. Thank you so much.
Okay, so this is all we can take today. And thank you everyone that is involved in creating this magic every week, starting with you, our dear listeners, our guests, our advertisers, callers, the engineers on duty, my producer, the amazing UpYou team, 98.3 Mainland FM, the sound of Lagos. You all stay strong, stay blessed, and stay lifted. My name, as always, is Ezinne Kanem. Until will come your time next week. It's UpYou.